Actually, since the unholy threesome are here in this room, maybe, Simon, you would like to answer what? Tell me about coming back. Why are you back?
We missed each other.
Did you? Yeah. What had you been doing?
Drinking it off.
Uh-huh. Robert, did you just call him up and say, come back, we need you?
Well, I've been thinking about it for a long time, because I was going to ask Simon if he wanted to join before Phil did, to do the top, but I didn't think the time was right, because I still hadn't got back together for some serious drinking with him at that point. It took another year of various nights out, and then I just, one night, and did I ask you? In a pub? I must have done.
You asked me first in the pub and then round the flat as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, he came up to the flat, I remember, and then I said, what do you think of these songs? It was a bit like the first time round, really, 17 seconds, because I sort of played the tape and I said, what do you think of these? And Simon said, I think they're really good. And I said, well, how would you like to play them on the record? But it was, because Simon was in another group at the time, it was all very sort of casually done. It was sneakily done. Because at first I was saying, well, no, you just play them on the record so that the others didn't get worried, because I wasn't sure about, because like, it would have seemed a bit horrible if I'd suddenly said, come join the Cure, because I knew that someone would say yes. So at first I said, we need a bass player to play on the record, and then I said, what about doing a few concerts? And it's just, I don't know, it's just gone on from there, really.
Mm-hmm. Eventually his other group got the hint.
Yeah. When they came to see us.
Oh, did they threaten to break anybody's kneecaps?
No, they were all right. Well, out of the 5 of them, 4 of them, one of them's alright about it. The others don't like me. The others didn't like me anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
What?
Because I did it the first time as well, didn't I? Stolen from the same people. Yeah.
Well, that's very stupid of them to have let you come back. They should have known. Why have there been so many personnel changes in the band?
There haven't really. I mean, it sort of looks like it on paper, I know, but
yeah, on paper.
Because the first group, I mean, like with Mike, the first recording group with Michael and Lo on it, that lasted for about 2.5 years, and then with Simon and Matthew, that lasted for, a year, but then when Matthew left and when Simon stayed, it was like the same nucleus, and that lasted for, 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
So like in a 5.5 year period, there was only one real change, which was Michael being replaced by Simon, because Matthew sort of came in and then went out again. But then after Pornography, that was when there were a lot of people came and went. But really the only people who I would consider to be actually in the group, creatively in that time, was Andy, who's the only person, because like on Let's Go to Bed, they were just a session drummer, and The Walk was all electronics, just me and Lo, and the Love Cats, and Phil played bass, but he didn't have any part in the writing of the song. And similarly on the top, I played all the bass parts on the top, and Paul just played a little bit of sax. And it was only really after the top that we needed to get a group of people to play the songs live that Phil stepped into the role of bass player. And in that gap when we were doing one-offs and things, we had a couple of other bass players and various people sort of fitting in and out, but they were never really, they were there but as a convenience, really.
Would you like it?
And just chuck it on the floor.
There you go.
And so, there isn't really, and now, and Paul was in the very first group anyway. Before we started recording, he was on stage. That's when we very first went on stage.
So you know him from?
Oh yeah.
Back when?
He's been living with my little sister for about 9.
Pardon?
He's been living with my sister about the past 9 years.
Oh,
He's been
God.
going out. So I met Paul through. Well, Lowell was going out with Paul's sister, and this was like in 1975, and so that's how we met Porl, and Porl used to come and play. And Porl went on stage first time we were on stage, so he's back as well, if you like. So I mean, the only newcomer really in the group is Boris, and he's been there for over a year now. So
it's all very incestuous, isn't it?
everyone knows each other really well, which is good, because it means you don't have to involve yourself in dumb small talk, and everyone understands what the other person means.
Yeah.
It helps, and it also means that everyone's in it. I mean, if you come back to something, I mean, like you know that you know what to expect, you know what it's going to be like, so it also makes it easier for me as well, having people around me that have been there before, because I don't have to sort of like be bothered with any kind of, you know, there's always like an interior sort of politics, which in this particular lineup it isn't in evidence at all. No one, except for those on the bottom rung.
Listening to the new album, I really almost felt there were lots of things that were sort of reminiscent, not so much thematically but musically of the early stuff. So I really wasn't surprised when I started seeing, you know, the unit that had been there before.
I think that was because it was recorded as a group. Which is the first record that we've made for a long time that was actually recorded, you know, and thought out by the people that were going to play on the record, because we went in and we rehearsed all the songs and we did lots of demos for them. And I mean, in that sense, it was more like our early recordings. It was more like 17 seconds. The recording of 17 seconds was done like that.
Yeah.
But since then, we haven't really done anything like that. So that made a nice change as well, because everyone was involved in building the songs up. Whereas before, like over the past couple of years, I've just been saying, right, this is what it is, do this. And
it was always Robert Smith, not just Robert Smith and The Cure, but Robert Smith is The Cure. I mean, that was, you may not have said it, but you sort of got that impression, you know, reading between the lines the last couple of albums and
but
things.
that's sort of inevitable, because
like I said, we didn't have
because I mean, I have become, you know, like more well known as, you know, as a person, not a person, as a face, if you like. And that, you know, whereas before the Cure was always seen, I mean, right up through Pornography and everything, was always seen as a unit. I was never really that much more in evidence than Simon or Lol. But since then, a lot of the attention's been focused on me. But I mean, it had to be like that really, because otherwise there would have been no focal point. You know, because with people keep changing, everyone would get very quickly fed up with out-of-date posters, and which is why we never put the pictures on the record sleeve as well, because you never know if those people are going to be around.
So how do you feel about being
A fascist.
a fascist? Are you?
A despot, dictator.
Simon, is he a fascist? Is he a dictator?
No.
No, that's because you're sitting right there. Ah!
Bill thinks I'm a fascist because he can't boss me around. He's the fascist.
No, actually, I've described him as a moving target, and I think that's probably close to the truth.
And Lol's an unmoving target.
Yeah. Languorous over there. How do you feel being a pop star? You are, I mean, God, there were these fans clustered around asking for autographs. That didn't happen in 1980.
No, again though, it's happened so gradually that it isn't something, it's not like instant. I mean, I'd be much more thrown by it if we were to have had instant success. I mean, I would have hated it really. I mean, I'm really glad that I've experienced like the way that we've progressed to this point, because we've actually seen the other side of things. We've seen like more what I'd call like the real life side of being in a group, where you actually meet all the people that you're playing to, and it remains small enough for you to know exactly what you're doing. You see where you are, and so I mean, like now, I never get to see anywhere where I go. But so I'm glad that I saw it the first couple of times around when no one wanted to do interviews with us, and no one wanted us to to post photos. So we had a lot of time to do other things. So it was more that the group was like part of what was going on, whereas now it's all that goes on, particularly when we're on tour, and I'm much more aware now of being someone who people look at, but it doesn't really register as much as it seems to on other people. Everyone seems to think that I mean, I'm not really that aware of it. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't register at all. I always think of myself in the third person whenever it happens. I was sort of like picking up, or like yesterday coming out of Tower Records, and there's people like screaming and trying to grab hold of you, and I think it's happening to someone else. And so that's how I cope with it.
Because I've always felt, correct me if I'm wrong, that just you as a person would not particularly be at ease with the idea of being, quote, famous, whatever, one means by that. I mean, you can have a politician who's famous or a movie star who's famous, but it's still that sort of, that inability to have a life when you want to.
Yeah, but it's something that, I mean, I suppose that it's a decision that you made. It was obvious that we were going to be more successful when we did things like the Love Cats. I mean, so I knew what was, what was about to happen, if you like. I think some of it was really born out of frustration with what we were doing wasn't getting heard enough. So we had to do something that would make us more obvious and expose us more, so that then people would be drawn in, and then you've got, then we've captured people then. And to do that, you have to do more. You have to deal with the media more, and therefore I had to become something which I'm not really. I mean, I do really think of myself. I mean, I'm definitely got a split personality. I'm very different depending on my situation. So I'm not that different really, but I'm more garrulous when I need to be. I'm much more obvious now. I used to be much, not really shy, but much quieter, whereas now I'm not so much. Because I found it's the only way to cope really, is just shouting back at people.
What would a typical day be like for you when you're not working? Like when you don't have to be involved with any sort of business type of things?
Those days are very few, unfortunately. Most of the time is spent dealing with some aspect of what's going on to do with the Cure or me in various parts of the world, like anything from press to artwork to just sorting everything out, because I want to retain complete control over what we do. It means that I have to spend a lot of time doing it. I could relinquish it, but then I'd probably go unhappy with the finished result, and therefore it actually made my time, I'd just spend my time off fretting. So I mean, a lot of the time I do spend involving myself in things that are to do with the group. When I don't, I just do nothing really. I just read or go shopping or go out for a walk. Just normal things.
Normal things. Yeah. Things that everybody takes for granted until you don't have time to do them.
I dress up in pretty lingerie.
Oh, we'll have that. That'll have to be our photo then. And you crimp your hair, or you don't crimp your hair. I never crimp my hair when I'm not doing this. It would actually probably destroy it.
Yeah, it would fall out.
You'll be wearing Cure wigs.
Yours would all fall out if you combed the knots out. It's only been held in by the knot. There's 4 attached pieces on your scalp, and the rest is just going to be lovely.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing. Your hair, Simon.
He hasn't combed it since because when he left the group, he said, "Right, I'm not combing my hair ever again," and he hasn't.
He was just waiting. He knew that it would work right when he reviewed it. Right. It's always been a popular notion that, judging from the lyrics in the songs, that you enjoy being miserable. I mean, this has been one of the most sort of widely touted notions in the press.
I don't really. I mean, I certainly don't see it in the way that I would perceive.
Frightening, isn't it?
Someone like Morrissey is like, a professional bastard, really. Well, a professional moaner, anyway.
Yeah.
because I mean, in the past, I work that it has been probably more weighted towards sort of like a darker side, a bleaker side of life, like a more despairing side of life. But I mean, again, over the past couple of years, I think it's become much more balanced. It's much more of a mixture. It's much more varied. Like on the new record, there's songs like in between those, which I mean, lyrically, I suppose aren't really very happy. But I mean, I just can't write happy songs. But it doesn't mean I'm not happy, because I am a lot of the time. I spend far more time smiling than I do crying.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that to live with something, I mean, I suppose I'm just not very frivolous by nature, and I find it very difficult to perform or to live out this particular myth. If I was having to deal with songs about animal, well, I'm not supposed to perform animals, we do songs about animals, so, you know, like happy songs, I couldn't really do it because that would then make me feel miserable. Actually getting it all out, it's like therapy really, and which means that I spend most of the rest of the day happy. I mean, on stage when we do a song like Cold, I usually get miserable then, for those few minutes I get sort of involved in it. And I remember how I felt when I wrote it, and similarly with Sinking as well. But then we can do like Let's Go to Bed on stage, or The Walk, and that picks you up. So I mean, it is much more balanced now. But I mean, when we were dealing with sort of more despairing material, like everyone probably felt like that more, or felt the need to express that more. But I mean, once you've committed it to vinyl, you've got to live with it forever. So I suppose. No, I don't moan anyway. I never moan in interviews, so I don't see how people. I smile in photographs occasionally. I think it just sort of lingers. I think it's an impression that lingers probably from a few years ago.
Well, I was just thinking, you know, there are a lot of the songs that you've written have been about you either sense that there's a state of loss going on, or that you're afraid of loss, and yet I know that you, like for instance, had a very stable relationship for a very long time, so you haven't lost anyone.
But there's stable in there.
Is it the possibilities? I mean, are you one who thinks of the possibilities? I mean,
it's
what do you...
most of it just stems out of the very basic I don't know how can I put it, an awareness of oblivion. Like, because I don't have any faith, and I don't have any notion of an afterlife, it renders everything really pointless a lot of the time, and if I allow myself to become too aware of that, then I get really unhappy. So a lot of time I spend like controlling it, but when something happens and it will trigger something inside me, and then it all sort of just goes horribly wrong. But it's born out of just like an innate despair. It sounds really pompous, isn't it? But I mean, it's just there, and it always has been, and it always will be until I die, and then I'll just stop, and it'll be fine.
Unless they really do prove that ghosts exist, which will imply by its nature that there is an afterlife, and then you'll think, I was wrong all along.
I'll make a really happy record if they do.
Your comeback, the ultimate comeback.
Happy ghosts.
There have always been sort of what have been considered, I mean, in serious terms, not in terms of typical pop songs, like, you know, you don't mess around with sex, and you don't mess around with religion, and the third one was always, you don't mess around with politics. Those are things you don't talk about in polite company. Now, The Cure, you don't really, you know, politics are not a tremendous concern, but there is a certain great frankness in dealing with sexual things and religious things in your songs.
The only reason that there's no politics involved in our stuff is because it's one area that I would feel uncomfortable for two reasons. One is that I'm aware. Well, no, the most obvious one is that not everyone in the group agrees with me politically. That's the most important one, I suppose, because I wouldn't feel that I should ask someone to back me up on something as important as, you know, as an issue as politics. Because it is seen for some reason that the group endorses a certain political sense, and it's if the people involved don't all think the same, it wouldn't be very fair of me to oblige them to make the choice between staying in the group or making the record. But apart from that, it's that I'm very aware that people, that some very impressionable people listen to The Cure, and I don't think that I know enough to start. I mean, the more obvious things, if I credit the audience with as much intelligence as I credit myself, then there's no need for me to state the obvious. But I mean, as an individual, in my private life, I'm active politically. But I mean, I don't bother talking because it actually demeans, because people might see The Cure now as a more frivolous sort of groups than we have been in the past, and if we suddenly started mouthing off about politics, I've never seen anyone accomplish it with any dignity, and it always actually takes away from the subject matter. You think, oh God, if they think like that, and they're a bunch of geeks, and then they can't be right. But I mean, I'm in Greenpeace and things like that. My politics they're very sort of, I don't really know, humanitarian, I suppose. I get very frustrated, but I realise that there's nothing that we can do as a group that would alter anything at all. So I just join in with political bodies rather than try and use the group as a mouthpiece. And that's why we've never ever done political benefits. I mean, and we never would.
But would you agree that a great many of your songs do deal with either sexual matters as opposed to romantic matters, and with religion, not necessarily organized religion, but maybe questions of faith or lack of it?
Yeah. I would say a lot of our songs deal with sex, but a good few of them do, yeah. I'm obsessed.
Pardon?
I'm obsessed.
You are?
I'm intrigued.
I was going to say, intrigued is a much better word because
it's weird. I mean, it dominates so many people's lives and relationships now. And it's like such a taboo sort of thing, the idea of monogamy. I don't know. I shouldn't say too much about it.
You could have some more problems. You don't need any more problems. But when you write a lot of the songs that deal with those matters, they aren't obvious. I don't know that the whole audience would pick up on it. They might think they're just catchy little songs or whatever.
Yeah, it's the other funny thing about songs is that a lot of them are about people. I mean, there's a lot of secrets in my life, hundreds of them, and there's a lot of people that the songs are actually about and they don't know, and it's really bizarre that it's like I've only ever met two people that realise that the Cure song's about them in the whole time we've been doing it, and there must be at least 20 people, and I meet them, from time to time, but no, I never realise. I suppose because I portray them in a very vicious way and they don't see themselves.
Nobody ever wants to look at themselves that way. That was when that infamous Truman Capote book that was never finished, what was it called, Answered Prayers. It was this thing where he was sort of writing in veiled terms about these numerous members of society, and everyone was sort of bitching about, well, it's about that one. No, it's about that one, and nobody wanted to admit it was about them.
Jackie Collins is the new Truman Capote.
Well, the people who knew that the songs were about them, your songs, were they pissed off or what? Or were they flattered?
One was flattered and one was angry.
Do you think that the audience, especially the larger audiences that you're getting now, understand what your songs are about? I'm not sure that I do all the time.
Understand, that's it's a sort of a dangerous area, that, because it's like crediting or giving a song more credit for one reason than another, like saying that, for example, Figurehead is a better song than The Love Cats because it has more emotional content in it. I mean, I'd think that was true in a certain way, but on the other hand, if someone likes The Love Cats more than Figurehead because it's a better tune, then I can't really, I would feel difficult to reconcile. I wouldn't be able to say to them, no, but you're wrong, because it's a good tune, but it's not quite the same. It's like one of those things. It's like arguing about which is a better painting. Like one one green line on a white background, or a whole landscape that's been painstakingly painted. So I don't know. I mean, the audience now, because I suppose because of our longevity and because of the varying styles that we've been involved in, the audience is mixed. I mean, some people, when we came here last year, thought that that Let's Go Ebet was our first record. I'm really surprised that we'd actually made other records. And similarly, like in Japan, I mean, when we went there, like, everyone thought The Top was our first album. I kept getting asked, is this your first album? Have you made any other records? And I was thinking, but then I thought, well, it doesn't really matter because they're there. I mean, whatever we do now doesn't invalidate anything we've done before. Which, I mean, some people originally thought that us doing Let's Go to Bed was like total sacrilege, and they would burn their copies of Faith because we'd done something that dumb. But it was a different time. I mean, all the things that we did then, and it meant a lot to a lot of people. I mean, it meant a lot to a few people, comparatively. Whereas now we probably mean not as much to more people. But it's difficult because, I mean, I'd like some of the popsters. I think it's refreshing to play to an audience that's a bit more abandoned, But having said that, we experienced like 2 or 3 years of playing to like probably the most intense audiences imaginable, really, around the world. People who just sit there and want salvation some of the time. So it's not. I mean, I wouldn't change anything that we've done. It's nice to have experienced it, but I would be very frustrated and get very fed up if we were playing to the same audience now. If we were just all growing old together and getting maudlin, it would be like vaudeville.
What do you think is the best thing about the Cure's growth and development from the beginning to now?
That it's been slow.
Yeah.
That's the best thing.
What musically?
I don't ever see it as developing in a linear way, like chronologically. It's because like the new record could quite easily be interchangeable with Three Imaginary Boys in a funny way. Yeah. So I mean, in some sense, it hasn't changed at all. I mean, the attitude really hasn't changed. And musically, we're probably more accomplished. I mean, what we do is more accomplished now. I mean, I'm much more picky now about things because I can afford to be. But I still think it's as spontaneous. It still sounds as fresh. No, which is good that I could say that about like however many albums we've made, but 6 or 7, I don't know. That it still sounds like the first one. It's just really good because most people when they get to the third album, they sound thinking, bored.
When you think of your earlier material, I know a lot of people are very unhappy when they've made a 7th or 8th album or whatever, and they go, oh, well, the first 3 were just...
No, I never really liked the first one, ever. For various reasons, reductions and memories. No, some of the songs were a bit light. I thought they were good ideas, but they weren't. I mean, it was supposed to be minimal, but some of the words to some of the songs are laughable, like Objects and things like that. But I mean, at the time it was different. It worked. It had had impact. But I mean, I think all the other ones are brilliant, with the exception of 1 or 2 songs on various records. I think. I mean, Pornography's still, I think, it's my favourite.
It sounded before like a lot of the students were, immediately going to sort of go running home and put on their copies and see what you meant.
If I were to check it, I'd say that the most apparent thing about the first time 7th or 8th album, whatever is the change in Robert's voice, because when if you listen to the first album,
sound about 10.
He sounds about 10.
Yeah, my voice is much better now.
There's always inherent foibles in first albums. If first albums are not flawed, they're never going to be better.
Your voice has gotten much stronger. I mean,
I'm just able to sing better. I mean, I feel I used to just sing like I talked, and I couldn't do anything else. Whereas now I can change it, but not very much so. But
no, but I mean, you keep a lot of power in it without showing any kind of strain.
It sounds better. Yeah.
I would guess, and I could be wrong, but certainly from looking at the MTV playlists in Billboard, because I don't live in an MTV area. I live in one of the parts of... No, 4/5 of New York is not cable access. We do not have cable access.
It's thoughtful.
You know, where anybody who's not in Manhattan is discriminated against if you live in New York City. But there was airplay on MTV, on the videos on this, and I think probably more so than on the last bit. I don't know how much video has had to do with The Cure finally making some sort of, dare we say, mainstream breakthrough in this country. I mean, how do you...
I think it's obviously had a lot of impact, really. I mean, since we've been making videos with Tim Pope, that they've been seen. But then, having said that, when we were making videos for 10, 15 and things, I mean, there was nowhere where they could be seen, so there's no such thing as music video channels. But again, I mean, I don't actually, I mean, I could never watch MTV. I've watched it once in my whole time, but all the times I've been in America, I watched it once for about 2 hours, and drove me around the bend. It's a cat. But I mean, it's there, so I mean, you might as well use it as everyone else does. So I mean, I'd rather see our videos on there than fucking Billy Joel or Barry Manilow or someone. So I mean, that's why we make them. It's just like, you know, it's the same as making good records as opposed to bad records. But if they get heard, people might realise that they are good. And if you see a good video, I mean, it just makes a change. Like, if you like that sort of thing. I mean, I think our videos now are funny, and they communicate something more than people posing about trying to get you to buy their record. I mean, they do have an element of like invention to them, because like Tim Pope is really clever to communicate something more than a group just like saying, you know, here we are, I mean, this is what we do. I mean, that's what's so boring about MTV, is that it's just like just a rerun of the same tired old, you know, video effects with just like with slightly different faces, people just singing the same song.
It must have taken some doing to find a director who sort of was compatible with your own particular aesthetic vision.
It was completely the opposite to and like at the time we'd been making videos, and I wanted us to make like art videos, and what was happening was we were getting like second-rate people doing our videos who were compromised probably to a degree by me through what I wanted. I didn't want us to be seen to be, you know, pop, and so I wanted something that had a bit more substance. But
I remember that show at the Hammersmith Odeon that opened up with that film.
Yeah, Carnage Rises. Yeah. But the thing was that they were like halfway. They weren't one thing or the other. They were like bad pop directors making video with a group that was unwilling to perform. You know, I mean, we just used to stand there and hate it. Whereas with Tim Pope, I mean, he came along and like, because I had a conversation with Lawrence, and I said that I wanted us to when we record Let's Go to Bed and we were going to do the video, I wanted something that would make us look stupid, so that we would just totally throw people's impression of what the Cure were like and to go against everything that people thought that we were like. So we wanted someone who would bring out that element of stupidity and sort of humour that we thought was, you know, would throw people. And Tim Pope he'd made the Soft Cell video, which I thought was really good. The first one, the second one. And so we met him, and as soon as I met him, and it was obvious that we were going to get on, because he's just demented. And he was wearing the most horrible shirt imaginable, so I thought, this is our man. If he can wear that shirt, he's got to be able to make good videos.
That was the only video that was actually storyboard as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. All the rest of them, he leaves a lot of what happens, you know, just on the day to what everyone does. It's good though. I mean, he's good. He's the only person I've met. I haven't met many, I suppose, but he's the only person that actually enjoys what he seems to enjoy what he does. You know, he doesn't do it because he's a video director. He does it because he wants to try and do something different. I mean, he could make, you know, probably far more videos with lots more money as he builds up his reputation. But I think he'll probably stop rather than do that.
Could you foresee putting out a long-form video along with an album? I mean, where the two of them would be done together?
I want to do a video with Pat that with other people probably that would be like a set of visuals, and the music was written with, you know, or for, in conjunction with what you were seeing, So it wasn't a promotional tool for anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was there as, you know, as entertainment in its own right, like Koiniskatsu or something like along those lines.
Uh-huh.
But to do it with different artists, so there wasn't just us like a compilation of interesting directors coupled with people who make interesting music, and that would be nice to do. I don't like the idea of doing it to an album because I still have got like an old-fashioned idea that you should listen to records and have your own pictures, really. I mean, that's what I don't like about videos, that, you know, because you associate, I mean, people associate every song that with the video, and it's sometimes, it's, you know, if you don't get across what you want to, like with The Walk, I didn't like that video very much, but people always think of that when they hear The Walk, and it sort of spoils it, because I do as well. I see little images of me looking stupid in a paddling pool, and it spoils a lot because the actual song was about something that was quite close to my heart, and it sort of spoils it a bit for me.
Next year is really going to mark 10 years since the group first came together.
Yeah.
Does that frighten you of sort of going into your second decade?
It surprises me. We're not going to be retiring in my 10th anniversary. Everyone knows that. Have a farewell show next December. I laugh, and it's true. Yeah, I didn't really think when we went on stage in 1966 that we'd be going on stage in 1986. No, I don't think I ever entertained that. I imagine I'd still be doing something, you know, but I didn't think it would be as a performer still.
Mm-hmm.
So you know.
I guess my question is, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Be a train driver. No, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever grow up. I'll just die. One day I'll just die, and I've never grown up. I'm growing up now anyway. I was growing up when I was 10, though. This is it, I'm afraid. I don't grow up anymore. I'd just like to, I don't know. I'd like to just keep doing something that entertains me, really. I wouldn't do this. We definitely won't be celebrating our second decade.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to imagine sort of, you know, the Cure being in the position of the Rolling Stones, of, you know...
Can you imagine
creeping-
Lowell at 40? Jesus.